Hi, I wanted to make a quick video tonight, this evening, hopefully I have enough light, about our journey in Torah. So I had a viewer ask me recently about our religious background, the revolting man and I's background. So I thought I would talk a little bit about this, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. First, let me do a little disclaimer. I don't really want to make this any kind of theological argument or debate. This is more just a little bit about how we do things here and how we're doing it. And the other thing is that this is the part two of the disclaimer, is that when I talk about our beliefs, what I'm really talking about is his beliefs, because I'm in submission to him and I follow him. So if he says, hey, we're going to start doing this, and I say, okay. So just keep that in mind. We both grew up in the church. Our parents, our families were very into church, and we both grew up in the same kind of church, an Assemblies of God. It's a Pentecostal denomination. It's very mainstream. I was in New Hampshire and he was in Georgia, so we were, it wasn't like we were in the same church, but we both failed miserably in this way, in this system of doing Christianity. And he had come back with, okay, let me get this straight. Hold on. He had hit rock bottom, and he had started out with the basic foundation of there is a God, and he is the God of the Bible. So he started rebuilding after that, rebuilding all his beliefs, all what he thought he believed from the way he was raised and upward. He threw it all away, and he started with that core. And so everything he re-examined, reevaluated, went to the scriptures and learned, and began to reconstruct his faith that way. And I met him. I was nowhere even close to being a Christian at all. I mean, I was way out there. I think I was trying to be a Buddhist at the time or something like that. And so he brought me back to God. He brought me back to the faith. And he had already come to the truths of a lot of the man-made rules that our modern Christianity wants to make us think are God's rules. So a lot of the silly stuff, and he had come to the knowledge of marriage and God's ways of looking at marriage and adultery and those kind of issues. And so it wasn't too much longer after we got married that he started studying the Sabbath. And once he did the Sabbath study, and he realized that it never changed, that the day of rest is supposed to be on seventh day, the Saturday. And we kind of went from there. I think we started out with the Sabbath. We didn't really do anything different with our diet right away. I remember asking him about it, and he said, well, I'll get to that next. I'll do a study on that next. And so we kind of just put all the pork and seafood in the freezer, and eventually I think we just gave it to the dog. I don't know how much longer, but and so then I remember we had a fellow over who was also Torah observant at the time, much farther along than we were, and he was observing unleavened bread, and we were eating sandwiches. And so that was kind of an indication, like, yeah, we got to get with this program. We've got to really start doing these feasts. And so we started doing as much as we could the feasts. And it's been a work in progress. Last fall was the first time we really did Sukkot, and the Feast of Booths or Tabernacles. And it's just been a work in progress. And hopefully we'll just keep adding more years to it and get more and more comfortable with it all, and understanding it all a little bit better. So okay, let's see. Yeah, so even the pork thing, even the eating clean thing is we just figured out recently that, like, you can't eat certain things because they might have pork in them, because they might be made with pork, like the gelatin. So jelly beans and gummy bears and stuff like that, and marshmallows, yeah, that's kind of a recent thing for us. So we're still babies in this, we're still learning. One thing that we do not do, first of all, when we threw away all those modern Christianity traditions, there was no way we were going to add in any other man-made traditions, and that includes all the really nice Jewish traditions that people have. If some people, when they go to Torah, they embrace all the Jewish traditions as well, and we try not to do that. There are some things, like last year around Hanukkah, I was like, I really like this Hanukkah thing. They get to eat jelly donuts and stuff, so like, what can we do with that? But for the most part, we just look to the Bible and just to see exactly what God wants us to do. And then let's see what else. So we haven't really done the whole, a lot of Torah people, they start using the Hebrew words and the Hebrew names. They'll call Jesus Yeshua because that's his Hebrew name, and we haven't really done that at all. If the revolting man decides that we're going to start saying the Hebrew names, then we'll start doing that, but it's just not something that he's felt convicted on, I guess, or thinks is that important. And the other thing is that we don't really have an assembly, so we technically, or sort of, still go to a mainstream church every now and then. We are not regulars. We used to be, much more so, but then every now and then we'll go with his parents to their church, and so we just don't have an assembly of believers like us, and that's hard. And we hope that eventually that would be remedied, but at this time there's no people around that are like us. That's why when we have visitors like from the channel who are also Torah people, it's just so awesome to be with people who feel the same way you do and practice the same things you do, and it's so refreshing. But anyways, I'm running out of daylight here. Let me try to wrap it up. I just want to talk a little bit about my personal feelings. A lot of the times when I'm speaking about, or I'm writing or whatever I'm doing about our beliefs, it's strictly about his beliefs. This is how he believes, so this is how I believe. But with this, I wanted to explain a little bit more personally. Once you start doing something, maybe it's foreign at first, and you're like, why am I doing this? Why can't I buy like pizza on Saturday for my family or something? Why do I have to wait till sundown to do the dishes? Why can't I do it now, or whatever it is? And lighting a fire, that's the big one that used to always get me. Like, why? So where was I going? Oh yeah. So once you start doing it and you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but eventually you start to internalize it and you start to learn from it, and it starts to become more clearer what God is trying to get us to think about and to, like, be still and know that I am God. Like, you have this whole 24 hours, just be still. That is so hard for some of us. It's really hard. But, so the thing is, okay, I want to go back. When I was in the Assemblies of God and Pentecostal Christianity, it was all about feelings. It was all about how the music is making me feel. How is this preacher making me feel? And am I getting some kind of feeling that it might be God that's speaking to me? And it's all about feelings. And that never worked for me, because I was always like, wait a minute, is this me? Is this my thought popping into my head? Is it God speaking to me? Who is this in my head? It's like, you just never know. And then as far as how you should live, it's always, like, okay, what is the will of God? And how do I figure that out? And, do I just stand here and close my eyes and, leave open my mind, and hope that he just, boom, like I get some kind of vision and I know how God wants me to live now. And so none of that seemed to click with me at all. It never made sense. Why is this God omnipotent and all knowing, and yet I have to figure out what he, that didn't make sense. So with Torah, it's all laid out and it all makes sense for me. This is the way my brain works, I guess. I don't know. But it says, if you love me, obey my commandments, and here are my commandments. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, God, I can do that. That's fair. That makes sense. That's not something I have to figure out, or, like I have to rely on my feelings and like, oh, I feel this emotion, so I must be in tune with God, and I must be close to God now because I feel these strong feelings. And I'm like, no, it's not about any of the feelings. And if you read the scriptures and you search the scriptures, you come to see that it is all about action. It's all about doing. Deny yourself, take up your cross. It's all these action verbs, and obey my commandments and obedience. So to me, that is such a relief that I don't have to figure it out. Like, if I was left to my own devices to try to figure out God and what he wants me to do, I would be so lost and so confused. And Torah lays it all out plainly and practically. And, even if you don't understand it, it's like, I'm going to do this anyways. And I'm going to pray that God is going to open my eyes eventually to why I'm doing this. But you know what? Even if he doesn't, I'm still going to do it. And I'm going to feel, there's that word. I'm going to stay away from that. But yeah, I'm going to be obedient, and I'm going to be blessed because of it. And I think that's what God does. But anyways, I'm losing light and it's getting dark, and I appreciate y'all hanging in there with me. Yeah, I still want to make a video about the birth, and I haven't gotten around to it yet. I've tried to, and to me, it's something that is so personal and so deep that I'm having a hard time expressing it, if that makes sense. But I appreciate y'all so much, and thank you for hanging out with me, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.